And I just remember going up to my dad, like after I got the email or whatever, be like, Dad, oh my God, look, like I'm gonna be, a designer for Madden. Like this is the game that I grew up, I ask you for this every year for Christmas.
What is good, everybody? Nathan Lombardo here with Lambo Media, and across the screen from me, a very, very special guest. Something new. I usually am interviewing a lot of professional athletes, but like I say, I interview people all around the sports industry. And my oh my, what a special guest! Not a lot of people have the capability to do what he is doing right now. Not a lot of people have the capability to perform at the level he's performing at in the graphic design industry. Kyle Sear, he's doing some work with EA, Madden NFL, as well as an ambassador for SeatGeek. So we'll get into that a little bit later. But Kyle, first and foremost, man, really appreciate you hopping on. And first and foremost, I just want to start off by talking about your journey, and you just introducing yourself for the viewers, because for those of the viewers that don't know who you are, just give them a little background on yourself, maybe how you got into graphic design, and then how you got to the point where you are at now.
Yeah, for sure. So I'm Kyle Sear, better known as at the Kyle Sear on Instagram. I'm a graphic designer. I mainly focus in sports design. And in terms of how I really got into it, as a kid, I always wanted to sort of express myself and the ideas that I had growing up. And I always struggled to express myself using just words. I always felt the need to sort of show people the ideas that I had. And it wasn't until about 7th or 8th grade, my older brother, we were thankful enough to live next to a high school that was half academic, half trade, where you get to go for half of it, you're in academic courses, learning your basic, subjects and whatnot, and half of it you go to study a trade. And they offered graphic design. And my brother ended up going into the graphic design course there, and as a Christmas gift, my parents bought my brother the Adobe suite with Photoshop and all of that inside of it. So we had that at home, and just before high school, probably about 8th grade, he was coming home and teaching me after school, just here and there, a little bit on how to use this program. And then all of a sudden I was a freshman and I went to the same school. I'm following in his footsteps, and being a freshman and having this older brother who's been through the system and all of that, you're always looked at as like the younger brother of so and so. So it was always very important to me to not that it was a competition between me and my brother, but I always wanted to not just be in the shadow of somebody. I always wanted to create my own legacy. So that's when I really started, like after school and stuff like that, since I had it at home and I had that available to me. After school, I'd go home, I'd watch videos, on the bus ride home, watch YouTube videos and, come up with different ideas of things I could do. And a lot of it at the beginning wasn't really sports related. It was just stuff that I saw that's like, wow, that's really cool. What if I could do that? And, the more I did it, the more shortcuts and, different little tools and things and techniques I learned how to use. And then I got better and better. And then all of a sudden it was like the students and the teachers and the people around me were like, oh my God, like this he's kind of like, he's doing stuff at, as a freshman that, the juniors are doing or the seniors are doing. And then it just kind of took off from there. But in terms of like social media, I was never heavy on social. If you scroll back on my Instagram account back to, I don't know, like 2016, 2017, I posted work here and there, but it was really more of a personal account for me. And it wasn't until probably early 2018, 2019, where I really got back into it. It was, it was Kyler Murray. I did a swap for him for the New York Giants, and I went from getting 200 likes on my post and having 600 followers. And at the end of that week, I had 600, likes on my post and 1,000 followers. And I was like, wow, like people really think that like I can do this. And then it just kind of rolled from there. Like I just put something down again, people really liked it. And it was kind of so surreal to me because everything sort of happened so fast. And then it just kind of snowballed from there into where I am now. And that landed me. huge opportunities that I'm so thankful that I have.
Yeah, that's awesome. I love that story. And you mentioned kind of, as you stepped your foot in the high school door and, getting your feet wet in high school, you mentioned that, your brother was a huge, influence on you getting into graphic design. But you also mentioned how, you want to be yourself. You want to be Kyle Sear. You want to be known as, having the capability to, do everything on your own, as I'm sure of, a lot of younger siblings. But how much would you accredit, you being in graphic design to your brother getting into it before you?
Um, I would say it's probably like I would say 50% of it had to do with my drive and my passion, and then the other 50% always had to, it's just with everything being the younger sibling, because we don't have any younger sibling. It's just me and him, and just being the younger sibling, you're always in that shadow. Even in like it's something that you're not going to be able to escape. Even in the classroom when
Right.
you have the same teachers and stuff like that. I always just wanted to be me. I didn't want to be, you know, my brother's name is Zach. I didn't want to be Zach's younger brother for the rest of my life. I wanted to be Kyle. I want to be Kyle Sear. I want people to know who I am, you
Right.
know?
Yeah, absolutely. And you also mentioned, towards the last part of you talking about your journey, somewhat recently in late 2018, really getting your feet wet in the, social media world per se, and you actually realizing how much it can do for you and your growth. How much would you accredit to social media as to where you are at now? Because maybe EA, Madden NFL wouldn't have noticed you. Maybe you wouldn't have the ambassador dealership with SeatGeek. Talk to me a little bit about that and how beneficial social media has been for you and your growth on your graphic design personality and career.
It's been everything. Literally, like, if I didn't have this, not that like the success is what I'm looking for, or like the followers or likes like matter to me that much, because they do and I appreciate them, but it's not like what I do it for.
Right.
But my favorite part about interacting with people on social media and having such a decent sized following is just all of the feedback I get, whether it's negative feedback or positive feedback, and the DMs that I get, people telling me that I'm an inspiration to them and that they started to do what I do because of me. And these are people that I've never met before in my life, and they're sitting in my DMs, and all of a sudden we have this connection. And that's something that I can attribute to social media that you can't really get anywhere else, is that you're meeting and connecting with so many people like yourself who
Right.
I don't know, I don't know you personally, but here we are doing an interview, and this is something that's awesome. And I think that social media is such a beautiful thing. It's such a great tool. I feel like when social media first really took off, it was sort of getting a bad rep. But I think now, in 2021, it's something that we've learned to love and embrace. And, it's almost like I would, compare it to like the stock market. It's on the rise, and, you get on and you ride that wave, and people carry you to the promised land. And that's how it is. You put in the work, and you're gonna see the results. And I would contribute or attribute all of my success to social media, because I don't think I would have the opportunities if it wasn't for the people who constantly back me in my comment section, saying how great my work is, sending my work, sharing it with their family and friends, all of that. I think that has helped me so much.
Absolutely. And I think, is to, piggyback on the social media part of things. I think it's either something, you absolutely can, take with you and run with. And, that's something you can absolutely benefit you and your career, whether that'd be, in the graphic design world, in the sports media world. For me, it's something that can benefit you and help you grow a ton and get seen by those big companies like Madden, like EA Sports, and, maybe even ESPN, stuff along those lines. I think, social media is a huge platform to grow on, if and only if you use it the right way. And I want to give you a huge props, because I've seen your social media work, and you're not only doing the graphic design work properly, but you're also doing the social media work properly. You're obviously pushing out great content on there as well, over 16.6 thousand followers. So you're obviously doing something right on the social media platforms and on Instagram in particular. But I've mentioned Madden multiple times. You're doing graphic design work for them. I follow them on Instagram. I'm always seeing, your work in their feed. How did that opportunity come about? Talk to me a little bit about that and what that looks like.
Yeah, so that was, I mean, it was sort of a long shot, to be honest with you. I remember it was my junior year of high school. We have, we have our assignments in school, but once you complete your assignments, like for the graphic design class, you're able to, produce whatever you want. And me being someone who loves sports, loves football, the Madden titles were, it was going to come out. I think it was like April or something like that, just around the draft. And I thought, hey, let me make a concept cover for EA, for Madden. And I made it, and I was really proud of it. I thought it did well as a post on my social media, and I was proud of it. And I was really starting at that point. I was really, after being turned down by multiple sports teams and companies for their biggest issue was you have to be you have to have this degree, you have to be this age, yada yada yada.
That's something I could attest to.
And I just really took the time after I made that. I went. What I did was I went to EA Madden NFL, their Instagram page, and at the time, Instagram's following list, like their following, was in chronological order. And they changed that now. It's like random, whatever.
Right.
But at the time, if you scroll to the bottom, you could see the first people that they follow. And then, you scrolling and there's like the big sports teams and you see all these people with the check marks and, all the verified people. But then you go to the bottom of the list and you find that list of, 6 or 7 people that are at the bottom of that list, but they're not verified or anything. You click on their profile, they're like, oh, production assistant at EA Madden NFL, social media coordinator at EA Madden NFL. And those are the people that I sent my work to. I sent them the post and I sent them a few other things of work. And I heard back from a few people. And there was this one guy, Matt, who he's one of the social media coordinators over at Madden. And he really loved my stuff. And he said, we're not going to bring you on this year, but, I really do like your work and stuff like that. And I'll hit you up over the summer if there's anything, available. So the summer goes by and now I'm in my senior year and still nothing, but I didn't reach back to him because personally, I didn't even really remember it. It was just like oh my God, he answered me. That's cool. Hit you up over the summer, but nothing really materialized. And then, fast forward to literally right when the pandemic hit, I get a message from Matt. Hey Matt, or hey Kyle, we still really like your work and we're looking to bring you on and stuff like that. Are you interested? And I go, absolutely. I'd be honored. And I remember being at work, and at the time, the place I was working at, my dad worked there too. He's been working there for years. And I just remember going up to my dad, like after I got the email or whatever, be like, Dad, oh my God, look, like I'm gonna be a designer for Madden. Like this is the game that I grew up, I asked you for this every year for Christmas, and now like I'm gonna be, and it was just such a really cool experience up front. I was fanboying for a little bit, to be honest with you. And the first thing I did for them was I had to produce a concept cover for the new game. And obviously, as you may know, or others may know, Lamar Jackson was selected as the cover athlete for Madden 21.
Yeah.
And so I had to come up with a concept cover using Lamar Jackson. And, when I tell you, like in preparation, normally like in preparation for designs, I just kind of go through it and then I go back and clean it up. I was like, oh my God, like everything's got to be perfect. This is my shot. This is my opportunity. Because I didn't know what I was going to get after that. I just knew that I had this one shot with them. So I really took my time and I was getting like opinions and stuff like that and sending things back and forth with Matt. And, huge shout out to Matt for being such a great person to work with, especially on a professional level. Always there for me to answer me and, you know, get back to me with any feedback. Even when we were first starting out, he was always there to say like, hey, like, that looks really cool. I like that. Or, hey, like, you know, maybe you should do this or that. And I remember having like my dad come in the room, and I was like, I have like, on the design, I have like a raven like swooping in with some feathers and stuff like that. And I was like, hey, Dad, should I put the raven here? Should I use this raven, this and that? And we were going back and forth, and I submitted like 3 or 4 different ones. A few days later, they posted, and it finally gets posted, and there's like 3 or 4 other concepts that people created that I didn't even know about. I thought I was the only guy making a concept, and then all of a sudden they post them, and there's like 3 or 4 designers that have a cover, and I was like, oh my god! I felt like I was being like put up against these people, and I'm looking through the comments, and they had it like on a carousel. And mine was like, I think mine was like the 3rd one. And I just remember looking in the comments and like being so happy. Everyone's saying like, oh my God, like number 3 is the best one. Like,
that's awesome.
3 is like 3. The people were saying that mine should have been the actual cover. And I was like, oh my God. And you know, I shot up probably like, I don't know, 300-400 followers in like 2 days, which was really crazy and stuff like that. So after that kind of settled down, I got to see like a lot of cool things. Like I got to see what the actual cover looked like before it was released to the public. So like I knew what it looked like, which was really awesome. I was able to play the game in like really super early development. Like I remember playing it with my brother. It was actually on my birthday. I got the codes to play the game early in the beta mode, and like I just remember going into the game and like they didn't even have like some of the textures on the players yet. Like it was so crazy. And I remember like being able to give out codes to like my friends and stuff like that. Where I grew up like in middle school, you know, I'd go over to your house and like sleep over, and we play, you know, up to 1 in the morning playing Madden. And now I'm sending you codes to like play the game months before it came out, which was like so cool.
Yeah.
And then the season started, and Matt hit me up and he goes, you know, hey Kyle, we want you to do these graphics that are going to promote our ratings changes every week, because something that was growing popular with them in the past few Mountains was their ratings. It was always a big thing at the beginning of the year, and then during the year they started to promote their ratings changes. So every week after the Monday night game, which was the last game of the week, Matt would send me an email. He was always great about it. He always had everything listed out, the player, what their overall is going to be, what the ratings are, what their increases are, when do I need to buy. Always, you know, super organized stuff like that. And then it kept rolling every week. I put, you know, we put 4, 5, 6 out there. And then there was other little projects. My biggest project for them this year was their mid-season, they called it the mid-season rating shakeup, which was like their big mid-season rating shakeup. Like, they went through the entire game, the entire roster, every player, almost everybody got an adjustment. And what they wanted me to do was I had to produce a ratings graphic for every NFL team. And every NFL team was going to post this on their social media, whether it was Instagram, Twitter, Snapchat, on Instagram stories, whatever, which was like so cool, because then after that, I could say that I've officially worked for every NFL team, which is crazy. But the thing was, I had to do 32 designs in 2 days. So what I did was I woke up 6 in the morning, 7 in the morning, and I got straight to work. I would get up to eat and go to the bathroom. I'd be late for dinner. I'd be working till 10 o'clock, 10:30, and I'd get up, do it again, and I grinded it out for 2 days straight, designing for every NFL team, which was crazy. It was crazy. It was like, it was a grind in the moment, but afterwards, like being able to go on Twitter and on Instagram and like watching these Instagram pages with like millions of followers post my stuff was crazy. I have like 1 million screenshots from that day. And then closer to the end of the season, the Pro Bowl came around, and they asked me to design for the Pro Bowl. I got to make because it was the virtual Pro Bowl because of COVID and all that.
Right.
So they had like their Pro Bowlers, and then they had like the Madden Challenge, Pro Bowl Challenge or whatever, where they gave you a list of players and they would track in game like who scored the most or whatever, and you'd have to try to try to get your player into the Pro Bowl or whatever. And once that was done, I was able to design the graphics for the Pro Bowl and find out that my feed's blowing up. I go on my phone, NFL, like the actual NFL page posted me, which was like, it's another thing that's just crazy. And there's so many instances, like I got to design the graphic for them for when they hit 1 million followers on Instagram and stuff like it. And there's so many things like behind the scenes, like when Next Gen came out, like the way that the Next Gen stats that they have on the game, like all like the user interface, the colors, all the official like style guides and stuff like that. I got to see all of that, which was so cool. Like I felt like I was accessing files that like I shouldn't have. It was crazy.
That is awesome.
That's been my experience with them so far, and I'm looking forward to working with them next season and being their go-to guy for those ratings graphics every week, and hopefully it turns into something long-term for them.
Right, I love that. And I think for everyone throughout their respective career and whatever niche they're in, and for you it's graphic design, they may have that one particular moment that really puts them on the map. For me, it might have been my interview with Julian Newman or Justin Simmons. For you, was there any particular moment or graphic design piece that really put you on the map? Obviously, your edit of Saquon, was featured in many magazines as well as many articles. Was there any particular graphic design piece that really put you on the map that got you seen by so many people?
I think it would just be what you just said. When the whole the George Floyd, Black Lives Matter protests and all of that was going down over the summer, I woke up one morning and it was the Blackout Tuesday day, the day that everybody was doing the black screens and stuff like that. And I woke up that morning and I remember laying in bed and I thought back to when the NBA did the I Can't Breathe t-shirts. And I thought, well, what if I did that on an NFL player? And not that I was not that it was supposed to be an attention grab, because I'm to be honest with you, I was laying in bed that morning and I was contemplating doing it. I was like, I don't know if this is the right thing to do. Like, I don't know if I'm gonna get hate for this, or whatever.
Tough.
Yeah, it was a tough decision to make, and then I did, and I remember being at work that day, and I get back to work, because I was out doing my job, and I get back to work, and I pull out my phone's blowing up again. Go on Instagram, find out that Saquon Barkley himself posted it on his story, and that kind of blew up or whatever. And then later that night, I'm at my girlfriend's house, and we're watching a movie, and it's probably 10:30, maybe 11 o'clock at night, and movie ends and we're ready to go to bed, and I just we're walking back upstairs, and I just pull up my phone just to update Instagram because I was blowing up all day, and find out that I'm on the New York Post. Like, I didn't even know. I go on my phone, I'm on New York Post. I was on the New York Daily News. I was in SNY. And that was like, not that like I really appreciated the publicity part of it. It was just the fact that like my work was featured in like one of the most famous newspapers in the world. You know what I'm saying? Like just to be able to say that was great. And I remember my dad went to the gas station and he picked me up a copy, 2 copies of the New York Post and the New York Daily News. And I don't have them here with me now, but back at my other house, I do have them. I have them framed up on my wall, side by side with each other, with the little articles in a frame. So yeah, that was probably my biggest like pop, I would say, would be definitely doing that. And it's crazy just because I was contemplating not even making that.
Yeah.
And it just blew up.
That's awesome, Kyle. I love hearing these, stories and hearing your journey it's definitely an awesome aspect that you have, and you definitely deserve all the accolades and features throughout. New York Times, Saquon reposting it. Now working with EA Madden NFL. Obviously, congrats on all of the accolades and success thus far. There's definitely a lot more to come, and you still have a ton of potential to keep improving and growing, as I see on your Instagram. And just for the viewers out there, give them a quick shout out and plug where they can find your Instagram and social platforms.
Yeah, so I'm mainly active on Instagram. I'm active on there pretty much every day. I always answer, every DM, every comment, because I appreciate people reaching out to me and stuff like that. And any feedback or any positive comments, I always appreciate that. So I take time to answer people on Twitter. I'm not that very active, but both Twitter and Instagram for me is just at the Kyle Sear, which is my name. So just at the Kyle Sear, and you'll find me. And if there's anybody out there who needs help with anything, whether it's graphic design related or not, you need somebody to talk to, anything, just hit me up. I'll always be there to talk to people, answer people, and just willing to help out.
Kyle, I freaking love that, man, and I love hearing that. And we need a lot more people in the world like you. And I really loved doing this interview. We'll definitely connect in the future as we both hopefully continue improving and growing, on our social platforms and life in general. But best of luck in the future, like I mentioned, and I really appreciate you hopping on.
All right, yeah, thank you, man, and I appreciate you having me and taking the time to do this with me and getting it done.